It is an immense pleasure to call to the stage one of the people who have been instrumental and the driving force behind Health Tech Innovation Days. I call the president of the endowment fund, Health Tech for Care, Maryvonne, Hiance.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It really is a great honor for me to welcome you in Paris to launch this fourth edition of the European Health Tech Innovation Days, HTID. The 3 past years were very successful, and I am convinced that the edition number 4 will also be successful. First of all, the very high quality of speakers with scientists, clinicians, entrepreneurs, investors, patients, economics, and so on, will give us the opportunity to better understand how to improve human health. The biotech, medtech, digital health companies must play a major role in Europe for healthcare access and treatment for every patient in the world. This is a societal and global priority. Now, thanks to the excellence of scientific research and the network of university and cluster that support first development of innovation. Thanks also to the thousands of startups and SMEs that developing innovative healthcare, innovative products, and innovative services. But there are in every European country some hundreds of companies who have problems to finance their product, to access the market, and to make them available to patients. So HTID will give them an opportunity to meet and to form industrial and financial partnership. Placed for the 4th consecutive year under the high patronage of Mr. Emmanuel Macron, Président de la République française, who strongly support HTID, this event will take place of institutional personality in Europe with European Commission, with European Investment Bank, and with European Council, Innovative Council. We have also the support of Mr. Roland Lescure, French Minister in charge of industry. Once again, thank you very much for coming, and I wish that this today will be very fruitful in exchanges and collaborations. Now, I am very pleased for Andrzej to over to Christian Pierret, former in charge of industry at the government, and now at the board of Health Tech for Care.
Thank you very much, Maryvonne. Happy to welcome the French Minister Roland Lescure, Minister of Industry, as everybody knows, by video, even if up to the last minute we hoped he could attend this meeting, HTID, here in Palais Brongniart. The COVID crisis and more recently the war in Ukraine didn't stifle neither our determination nor our commitment to develop our research and industrial sector with the proactive support of the French government and obviously the European institutions. We have in mind the commitment of President Macron in last June this year when he presented, I state, a clear strategy to make France the first European nation for innovative and sovereign in healthcare. A good program, and he talked, he talked about the resilience of the key economic sector, which is the health sector, matching the real revolution we are living in healthcare and life sciences. Let us listen to the actual consequences Minister draws out of this 7 billion strategic plan. Mr. Lescure.
Good morning, everyone. Bienvenue à Paris. Welcome to Paris. I'm sorry I couldn't be here with you today, and I hope there will be other opportunities for me to meet with you in person. I want to offer a special thank you to the organizer, Maryvonne Hiance, the president of Health Tech for Care, and everyone who made this event possible. I also want to give a special greeting to Pierret, who sat in my chair a few years ago. Christian, thanks for everything you're doing for the industry. You're about to start 2 days filled with innovation, communication, ideas for the future of health. I know that all of you are contributing strongly to innovation, and I want to thank you very much for that. Innovation in health is based at least as much on individual discoveries, bets, as on collective dynamics involving the entire ecosystem. What I would like today is to reaffirm our ambition. We want to make France a leading nation in terms of industry, innovation in health. We will continue to support innovation, which will be the key to our competitiveness in the long run. Despite the difficult economic context we're going through, this ambition is in no way downgraded. On the contrary, the most difficult context requires strong and innovative industries to bounce back. As you all know, health is at the heart of major innovation. Innovation brings social progress for sure, but it also plays a leading role in our sovereignty policy. The COVID crisis reminded us of this. We quickly realized the need to strengthen our capacity to innovate strongly in vaccines and treatments. Of course, I won't forget who I am. I am the Minister of Industry after all. I want more factories, I want more labs, I want people on the ground, women of men, getting jobs everywhere in France, and you guys can provide us with that too. So I want to reaffirm here that we are implementing this collective dynamic. The big push came with the 2030 Health Innovation Plan that the President Emmanuel Macron presented in June 2021. The plan is something that's never been seen in the French health industry. We will invest 7.5 billion euros. We have already launched 6 calls for projects and selected more than 60 projects. We are moving pretty fast and will accelerate in the next few months. I am convinced that we need to bring the world of research closer to the business world. This is one of the goals of the so-called Loi Pacte, a law for business growth and transformation, which I led in Parliament before being appointed here. We also need to train, we need to attract new talent. I know that she couldn't be here today, but I want to thank Raphael Torjman, my good friend, who's actually playing a good role, big role in attracting more talent to the industry. All of these tools, tax credit, support mechanism, will only be fully effective if they go hand in hand with a renewed governance. As you know, we are creating the French equivalent of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, the famous BARDA. This agency, which we called Agence d'Innovation Santé, Health Innovation Agency, will be launched in the next few weeks. I know that expectations are high for this agency. It will define a strategy whose success depends on the capacity to simplify, streamline, enhance the entire production cycle from basic research to market access. Our vision goes beyond French borders. We need to have strong actions at the European level in this respect. France is promoting the launch of the important project of common European interest, the so-called IPCI, that represents 1.5 billion euros in the field of health. We will pre-notify the projects to the European Commission at the end of this month. I know that a number of you consider that the process is too long, that it's too complicated, and that it's not really suited for small and medium-sized businesses. For the second wave of the IPCI, we will try to retain more small and medium-sized business as project leaders. It's very important that everyone can enjoy that process. As you can see, we are making a very strong bet on innovation. If we can do so, it's thanks to all of you. The private financing available for health has increased exponentially in recent years here in France. However, we need to make further progress. We will demonstrate the ability of our ecosystem to bring out innovations leading to industrial and commercial success in the short run. Bringing all of you together today and tomorrow is key to promote the dialogue between startups, large groups, investors, and public authorities. So I would like one more time to thank all the participants, all the organizers for being here today. I would like to insist on the fact that the Health Innovation Plan is intended to be flexible. We need feedback. Please don't hesitate to pass us your feedback. It's important. Combining top-down and bottom-up approaches, it is a must if we want to meet our common challenges. Have a good day today, have a good day tomorrow, and see you soon.
Now we will welcome a short speech from Andrzej Reis. He has been Director of Health Systems, Medical Products and Innovation in the European Commission's Department for Health and Food Safety, the so-called DG Santé in French, since 2016. He has been personally involved in technology transfer and university development from 3 to 6. Previously, he was a Polish Deputy Minister of Health and member of the government negotiations team for Poland's accession to the European Union from 1999 and 2001. I had the privilege at this time to meet him during this key period for Poland and for European Union before the Polish accession to EU in May 2004. I also remember he was as MD, Director of Health for this magnificent city of Cracovie, the city of Jagiellonian University, and he was director. And dear friend Andrzej Reis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christian, and it's a pleasure to see you after many years. Sorry, not in person, but I had other obligations today and couldn't manage to come to beautiful Paris. Let me switch to my presentation because I prepared, something overview of the EU policy. If I can get my slides on the screen, please. I don't see them yet. Yeah, they're here. So I wanted to say a few words in this 15 minutes about how EU health policy is in action, and of course I'm not going through whole components, but just a few most important developments which are influencing innovations and developments in the health policies in Europe now. But let me start from the treaty and our European treaty, which give us, the direction of travel in the health policy field. Is this famous Article 168, previously Article 152 from Maastricht Treaty, which basically say, what we can do, or is the limit of our way of doing things. But I think it's also fair to say that thanks to cooperation and developments, this article is really helping to shape great Europe, together with member states. But of course, we cannot go too far with the national system, but we do a lot with thanks to this cooperation instrument. But we should not forget, this is, I think, important for all partners to understand that health also is important part of the single market, and thanks to this part of treaty, today, Article 114, we are regulating number of areas, like, for example, patients' rights for cross-border healthcare, which help also develop digital health cooperation, for example, or HTA, or setting up the biggest network of clinical sites for the rare diseases called European Affairs Networks. We are regulating pharmaceuticals. Now we are implementing very important regulations in clinical trials, which since end of January this year is allowing doing clinical trials with one applications across Europe, so you can set up the clinical trials in 27 countries, right, plus Norway and Iceland to get the results. And also other important area like the current proposal for digital health called European Habitat Space, which I will say a few words. But again, we also working in the important field of health security, which is a big issue, especially now during the pandemic, COVID-19. But we should not forget, is the last line of this slide, that we do also have a number of recommendations in the policies and developments, like, for example, the one which is now proposed by our president in the field of mental health. So let me say a few words about the crisis where it was mentioned by Mr. Minister. The crisis caused a lot. If you see this in number of deaths, and especially the first 2020 year was in green. Most of countries we lost really the way of developing and increasing our life expectancy. It's really was the hit. And the second year was a little bit better. Some countries were able to recover, which is only 3, but still there were a number of countries that were still losing the lives much more than accepted. And then when you see this in the variety of the health systems, and how we are today in Europe, I think it's a problem with this slide. Sorry, it's showing also the variety of costs. The Europe is different, very different. We are spending different money on healthcare. We are investing differently. You see also in this light blue and dark blue. How much money people spend out of pocket. And of course, this is also making the choices and availability of different products and technologies sometimes very difficult for our patients. But also what is important, the workforce, not only show the problem with the supply chain, with the global supply chains and how Europe should build the next phase of the resilience, but also show the huge problem with the workforce's capacities. Here is the situation. Already was difficult before the COVID. How distribution of nurses, doctors is existing in the country. We have some countries with relatively high level of doctors and nurses, but some other, like for example, my own country, Poland, with a relatively low number of doctors and nurses. But COVID really showed that this is a very critical factor, and we see a number of those problems that many people basically were not able to continue work due to the burnouts, to difficult times they went through during last years. The crises, as Mr. Minister said, they are, coming and going. We have all kinds of problems. We already faced like COVID, like aging situation. We have now the war in Ukraine. We have climate change. So of course, the pressure on health systems continue. So our president, Ursula von der Leyen, she announced in the September 2020 the concept of European Health Union, which basically said we should strengthen our capacity to prepare for crises. So we presented finally the last bit of these regulations were finalized. First, 3 important regulations, one giving the new additional mandates for European Medicine Agency, for Center of Disease Control, but also creation of HERA, which is the instrument to prepare for crises and also manage the crises. We already have seen HERA in action, for example, when we have arrivals of the monkeypox, which was a very big surprise, but we could react together with thanks also to this instrument. But also we were setting up the new regulations, helping member states and the Commission on the European level to manage the crisis situation like the one we are facing since almost 3 years. Pharmaceutical strategy is a big package of reform. We are working on this. We already introduced a number of measures. There's a mixture of regulatory framework, which we'll propose very soon, but also the number of activities which helping industry, but also member states to act to make pharmaceuticals available and accessible to patients. This reform is one in the last 25 years, so we really have carefully see how we can build smart and better regulation for this important sector of industry. Europe Beating Cancer is the ambition of Europe to focus on this area, both in the policy context, but also 1 billion euros budget was allocated to the research in the fields to help and push development in this area. We also try to build cooperation with the member states, as I said, for example, in the area of non-communicable diseases, really to see what we can learn from each other, how the best practices can be shared between member states. But now, just last few words about the other important policy area, which we presented at the beginning of May. This is helping us to build a new data, world health data for European Union, based on a number of experience, including a country like France. We brought the concept of the European health data space because as Europe, we have huge data source, and this data should be enriched and help innovation, help better policy making, but also finally help our patients and healthcare practitioners. Data space is not only regulation, it's also the infrastructure which we are building already for the primary health data to be exchanged. We also help to regulate better the way we understand the use of the primary data. The other focus is on the secondary health data, the one we need for development, to develop new products based on AI or other also services in telemedicine and so on. And the last one is the package when you like to push the Europe market to allow companies not develop only in country, but also go with the products across Europe. And here is the example, that already 11 member states are able to exchange data like e-prescriptions and patient summaries. Other countries are also working and hopefully will be very soon joining this. Just last words about money. We are we have number of pockets of money dedicated to health area. EU health program is the biggest program since ever. It's a program which was which is dedicated now to push the policy areas to help member states and European Commission, European Union working together in a number of areas, including also health security. And this is last important pocket of information, or the pocket of money, which was dedicated to member states through so-called recovery resilience facilities, and this money are helping, to build up and rebuild infrastructure after COVID. So when we calculated this, is almost 8% of the budget of RRF programs are dedicated to digital health, to infrastructure, to innovations in health. So we will hopefully see very soon the way this program is giving also innovations and new developments, both in infrastructure, but also in building up the capacity, supporting talents, supporting development of new programs and so on. So thank you very much for having me today in Paris, and wish you a very good conference.
Thank you very much, Andrzej. I don't know if you do accept questions from, yeah, okay. Who was raised a question, please? Well, this, I'm impressed by this silence, the convincing speech you had.
The coffee was not strong, Christian.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, close collaboration between the bioclusters around Europe is, or has never been so important as now. And to talk us through the dynamic of this European ecosystem, we are very pleased now to welcome the president of the CEBR, Marc Dechamps, who is in conversation with the VP Business Development and CCO at Abivax and Vice President of Health Tech for Care, Pierre Courteille.
Good morning, everyone. So, Marc, thanks for being here with us today. So, first of all, I would like to highlight a few points on the biotech ecosystem in Europe. So, Europe needs a dynamic, resilient, close-knit ecosystem that provides solution and innovation in order to ensure a sustained development of the life science sector all around the world. It means from the bench to bedside. Hence, the importance of bioclusters in Europe and their collaboration, as well as an efficient European financing ecosystem. I would like to highlight some characteristics of the European health tech ecosystem regarding innovation, financing, and talents. Talking about innovation, well, we know that in Europe, innovation is flourishing with excellent academic research. Research leading to disruptive technologies is definitely supported by the European Union members, but further efforts need to be done in order to remain at the forefront of the cutting-edge innovation. Now, the second point is financing, which is a very, very important point for us here in Europe. So regarding financing of the European health tech, it is much more difficult to financially support the growth of European health tech compared to the US health tech. Indeed, our health techs find support in early stage through public and private funding, but often struggle to find funds to ensure their growth. I'm talking for biotech, middle of phase 2, beginning of phase 3. placing our biotech, our European biotech and health tech in a strong dependence on non-European funds, often with a change of control. The good news is the creation of the growth investment funds, growth recently in Europe. However, this cannot be done at the expenses of the early stage financing. Hence, the importance of having strong European funds present at all stages of development of the value chain. And the third and last point is talents. We also need in Europe European talent development policy. This will be discussed later in this event, during this event. This policy must also include specific support for the promotion of women and diversity in the sector in order to better represent the European reality and its innovative potential. So, Marc, from all I've just said, what is your opinion?
Thank you, Pierre. Just to introduce what is CEBR, it's the Council of European Bioregions, so it's more than 40 big bioclusters or bioregions all across Europe. And I represent BioIn in this organization. BioIn is partner of this event, and BioIn is the life science ecosystem of the south of Belgium. So we have a platform of collaboration, and we are really dealing with innovation. We heard a lot in this opening ceremony about innovation, and we are also supporting essentially our SMEs to grow, to your point, Pierre. And 1 year ago, I remember we were here with EITL, CIT Manufacturing, and also with Sanofi and Dechamps, disclosing for the first time the biomanufacturing landscape report, first wave. And the conclusion were exactly the same. If you look to the biomanufacturing space, we have great innovation. We are lacking a little bit of support for the growth of the company as well, and talent is definitely the bottleneck in that field as well. So development of talent is very key, and I'm very pleased to see that there are some very great initiatives today. So very aligned with what you said. One thing maybe I could explain to just showcase actually how the clusters are really contributing to the healthcare system and to the European Commission also during a crisis like the one we still know with the COVID-19 situation. You know, the cluster were first acting locally. At the time the crisis came, we were in the containment, so we were lacking of masks, of ventilators, of everything. And that's really the role of the cluster, to be a catalyzer and to make sure that all the people in the ecosystem, all the value chain are connected and trying to solve the problem. And it was very great in all the regions and bioregions across Europe. But we did also more and more with regard to the European Commission. So we just heard about DG Santé, but we are working very, very strongly with DG Grow. By the end of the day, you will see Hubert Gams, who is managing the DG Grow. And at a certain point of time, we were invited to the COVID-19 European Task Force with all the big federations across Europe, and to understand whether we could bring a potential solution to support the increase of the COVID-19 vaccine production. It was 2 years ago, more or less, and we have proposed some initiatives, and the day after, Hubert Gams called us and asked us to elaborate a little bit on that. And we started actually a long journey with the European Commission, DG Grow, DG Santé, EMA, and so on. First of all, to make a survey, to support the dissemination of the survey, to understand whether in Europe, speaking about the resilience of Europe, as it was said, we had the possibility to support the increase of production of these vaccines. And we identified 300 companies at all stages of the supply chain and the value chain, from the drug product to drug substance and even tubing and so on, able really to support this increase. At the time, the shortage was there also because China was closed, US was closed, and it was really difficult to cope with that. And the second thing we did is to support the organization of a matchmaking between the big pharma companies having an advance purchase agreement for the COVID-19 vaccines, like Pfizer, Moderna, and so on, and also who were developing, like Sanofi with GSK and other companies, in order to make sure that they were aware of these 300 companies, actually, and to potentially stimulate a new collaboration and asking these companies to get out a little bit from their own usual network. And it worked, and because it was working, we were asked also to support the collaboration and really the initiation of 2 other matchmaking events, and then it was really to accelerate the development of the therapeutics for COVID-19, because if you remember, the EMA decided to choose the 3 first ones for an accelerated approval in June last year, and others, 3 others in December, January this year. And so we supported this organization as well, again with DG GRO, DG Santé, EMA, but also we will hear about EIB with Mrs. Riddle later on, but with EIB providing the people with a good understanding of what the EIB could do to support actually this development. And that's actually the beauty of the cluster, the fact that we are dynamic, agile, close to the ecosystem with the feet on the ground, and we can really accelerate this type of activities, and that's for me a good example.
Yeah, thank you, Marc. And Marc, what we see also is that, as you said, collaboration with clusters is of importance for Europe in order to develop our strength, to develop our resilience. What is your opinion on the funding? Because we know that we are lacking of funding in late stage and growth companies. So what is your opinion on that?
But the funding, your point is totally correct. So we see that now we have growth fund in full development in Europe, and that's a very good news. However, some of them are moving from the early stage to the growth. So we need to make sure that we have funding for all stage of the development of the biotech, medtech, deep tech, health tech companies. So it's not one of another, it's everywhere that we need the funding. And from a European perspective and from a CBAR perspective, we heard about the IPCIE with Mr. Lescure a while ago. But something which is a bit frustrating for the cluster, and based again on the experience and the example I just explained, that we are not eligible for the big European project. And SMEs behind us are not eligible for the big European project. So we are eligible for small projects, intercluster, we do mapping, we do limited matchmaking between region and so on. But we don't have enough money to really, I would say, tackle our possibilities to really support the development of Europe, the innovation in Europe, and certainly also the resilience of Europe. That's a little bit a pity for the moment. That's a message we are bringing to the European Commission. It's not because we are complaining, it's because we could do even much more actually than we do on usual situation.
Yeah, we have seen recently the birth of many crossover funds, so this is very promising, but it should definitely be more, we should really strengthen that in Europe, because to accompany the company until the market, which is very important, and avoid to go outside of Europe. Yeah.
Exactly, and to ensure the resilience also in case of the next pandemic. And we are pleased also to be in the joint industrial advisory forum of ERA, the new DG of the European Commission, at least to bring the voice of the SMEs in the discussion.
So, Marc, we have everything in Europe to build an Airbus of the health tech ecosystem, right?
Yes, we have. We just need to put the pieces of the puzzle in the right order, in my view.
Okay, so I guess we have a bright future. Now it's time to bring peace together and to bring those clusters and those funds together and have the same ecosystem we have in Boston, but to have it in Europe.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Marc. Thank you very much. Now, did you know that Health Tech Innovation Days is over 300 investors from right around the world? It is a wealth of top-level deciders from 20 different European countries. It's countless one-on-ones and 19 roundtables and conferences led by KOLs, 25 sponsors also from right across the ecosystem, from pharma, industry, and funds. And for the first time this year, Health Tech Innovation Days is launching a pitch competition for innovative healthcare companies in Europe who are committed to patients. And all of this with fabulous food, wonderful wine, and very pleasant people. So ladies and gentlemen, messieurs et mesdames, welcome to Paris and welcome to the 4th edition of Health Tech Innovation Days. My name is Alison Munro. I am delighted to be hosting this 2-day prestigious event. Now, we are going out live and streaming in the next 48 hours. And so we would ask you to communicate and to give us your take on the event, to join us on the hashtag HTID4. Also, of course, to fix up meetings, if you haven't yet done so, you can join us on the Health Partnering platform. When we are in the auditorium, please keep our telephones on silent mode. There are refreshments throughout the day upstairs in the nef, where lunch will be served also. And at the end of the day this evening, there will be a cocktail. So, also, if you want to get the agenda, if you haven't seen it yet, just scan the QR code to see what's happening today and tomorrow. So stay with us throughout the next 2 days at Health Tech Innovation Days.